So Netflix looks like 435 prints, 430s going through, so initial reaction lower. Let's see if it can recover though. Getting some down ticks, 420s now. Netflix likes to do these reversals off of an initial poor reaction though. But at the moment you're breaking down. $4.08, so Netflix getting slammed. So not good for Netflix, and even worse, not good for the market. She's going to need a hell of a reversal off of this. But certainly looks like lower. It'll be interesting, as long as you stay below 420 now, you're going to flush. Trying to bounce, regain 400. Back below it though. So, not good. Good for the shorts. Awful for the bulls, obviously. You are down 12%, and the stock is right now at its lowest level since May. 380s. Netflix woodshed. This is the definition of getting taken to the woodshed, bro. You are getting killed. Oh man, that's funny. So you don't look too hot. I mean, I'm gonna wait a little bit before I start putting together an outlook here. Just still kind of observing, but obviously, you've got to be bearish seeing this. Still a lot of time. We'll still have the open tomorrow, but she don't look good at all. And she far exceeded the move that was priced in. I mean, the market makers were looking for about a 6.5% move. She's doubling that. Might even triple that here. You're down 15%. Going to try and print some 370s. You are printing 370s. Look at these 375 puts, for instance. These closed at 62 cents. If she opens anywhere down here, these are going to be up huge tomorrow. This is an awful sign for the market, though, because Netflix, to me, is the epitome of a momentum stock. We obviously saw a lot of momentum come out of the market in the last couple sessions. Hold on. Excuse me. We've seen a lot of momentum come out last few sessions. But this is concerning because this not only confirms the market's weakness, but it probably means there's more weakness on the way. If this is what Netflix is doing, that's not good. It ain't good. If you just look at market pullbacks, anytime over the last 12, 18 months, they have been shallow, and I would argue one of the reasons they've been shallow is because when Netflix has shaken out, it has always been able to come back and stabilize itself. But this is going to be a demolition right here. Stock is going to be below a key uptrend line, assuming that it holds on to a lot of these losses. You are testing the May 21st low of 373, printing 360s here. and still no bounce at all. They're running for the exits on this thing. Maybe a little bounce around 370. You would think it's got to be able to bounce something. $365s. You didn't try and print some 350s? I guess so. So just going to kind of wait this out and see when the bleeding stops and where, when, how. Try and put together some type of outlook based on some reference points. At the moment, you're down 20%. Still unclear, though, if it's going to go down towards 350 or if it pops back towards 375. But those kind of look like the two reference point areas based on this so far. Either 375 action or 350 action, maybe 400 action, but I'll be impressed if you can climb back up towards 400 here. So just going to observe, let some time go by. Let's see where this thing ends up over the next 5-10 minutes. So, thought maybe 350 or 375. Obviously down here you are 325s on Netflix. Looks like will be the level to watch. The 325 area, monstrous drop, no way around it, just incredible down move, and the bears are for sure in charge. However, for me as a day trader, I'm not in a position overnight, right? I need Netflix to move tomorrow. And I get a little concerned about a 27% drop on an overnight basis as far as what type of shorting opportunities does that leave for me tomorrow. So initially, my reaction right away here, to be honest with you on Netflix, is that it'll be a better play to short premium tomorrow as opposed to owning premium tomorrow. I think what's going to happen is, market's going to open tomorrow, and assuming Netflix stays somewhere down here, maybe even lower, but I'm going to assume 340s or lower. You've got something like these 335 puts, which hit 10 cents and closed at 10 cents today. Had really only 2 contracts trade on them all day today, so just no liquidity on these at all going into this report. These are going to open up huge. Okay, these are going to open up probably $5 to $10, depending on where Netflix opens exactly. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to get, number one, a ton of people that, anybody who did short Netflix or does own puts going into tomorrow is going to be crazy not to cover the position tomorrow at the open. And they're going to cover the position. All right. So you will have some short covering off the bat. I'll tell you that right now. Granted, you're going to have a lot of longs panicking, so there's going to be some pressure, which we've already seen clear evidence of, but you will have some support here just from the simple fact that you'll have a couple of things. Shorts covering their winning positions, number one. Number two, you'll have long traders who have seen Netflix just go up over the last few years. They're going to look at this. They're going to say, man, the stock's down 120 points, 25%. This is finally the big, huge shakeout I've been waiting for. So you'll have that type of support. And then you'll just have day traders that are coming in and are going to say, well, the stock's gapping down 26%. And not that this is the right approach, but they'll just say, you have to bounce. You can't gap down 26% without bouncing. So I really do believe that you will have some support here after maybe a flush at tomorrow's open. And to me, the play is at the open, off of that flush, to look at shorting some put premium because it's going to be hugely jacked up. Implied volatility you'll have some of it come out due to the earnings coming and going, but you better believe you're still going to have a healthy amount of implied volatility tomorrow, given that this move is so far in excess of what the market makers had priced into the stock. I mean, it's not even in the same world. Netflix is in a different world right now. All right, so that's just kind of what I believe, first and foremost, relative to what you're going to see the first 10, 15 minutes of the day. You're going to see extremely whippy action. You're going to see a flush, and then you're probably going to get some type of recovery. Now, what does that recovery look like? That's the key, because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you should buy Netflix, be bullish on Netflix. That's not what I believe. I'm saying I expect it to bounce somewhat off of this first few minutes of the day tomorrow, and then look for shorting opportunities. But just understand that the easy money has been made. That's the first thing you got to recognize. 26% gap down. The easy money is on owning puts going into tomorrow. So don't think you can just kind of close your eyes and buy puts on this thing tomorrow. Maybe it does go to 300, but it's going to take a roundabout way of getting there. I would expect the price level I recommend watching, based on what I've seen after hours, is 325. Okay, kind of a over under 325 setup, and let's go from there. If you can hold 325, you're setting up for a bounce up back into the 30s, but you would still be a short, even on that type of bounce. Overall, I kind of feel like, hey, Netflix, you could bounce 330s, you could even bounce 340s. But between 340 and 350, just psychologically speaking, I expect Netflix to really struggle with the 340 to 350 range if you do bounce. So if you do bounce, hold 25 and start bouncing back into the 30s, maybe you can go into this 340 to 350 range, but that is the range that I would certainly say Netflix is a short, and that's the bounce I would look to short. Now, maybe you don't bounce at all and you just go straight below 325. Well, as down as this name is, I got to be open-minded to the fact that we might just go straight to 300 tomorrow and you might be down 35%. So, do I think you go to 300 tomorrow? No. Would I be surprised if it happened? Not at all. Got to be open-minded. That's really the key ingredient with these plays, is being open-minded. Nobody thought Netflix would drop 120 points. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody thought that was going to happen, so that was mistake number one as far as not being open-minded in that regard. So, mistake number two would be seeing this drop and thinking that it can't continue to do more. This is going to be an extremely volatile stock the first 15 minutes of the day, certainly the first 5 minutes of the day. My advice to people, if you don't have experience trading earnings reactions, and even if you have experience trading earnings reactions, but you don't have experience trading a stock that's gapping down a insane amount, just stay away. Stay away the first 5-10 minutes of the day. Let it kind of figure itself out. Let the big money mess around, and then try and catch some type of move relative to a reference point. You're going to want to watch your $5 and your $0 marks. What I mean by that is, already mentioned 325. That is a $5 mark. It ends in a 5. But you want to watch your 0 marks as well. 330 ends in a 0. 335, one of those 5 marks. 340 ends in a 0. 320 ends in a 0. 315 ends in a 5. Okay? Watch those 5 and 0 marks to help dictate your reference point areas on Netflix, as far as, okay, I'm going to short it versus 335 and I'm going to target 330, or I'm going to go long versus 325 and I'm going to target 330, and then at 330, if it holds 330, I'm going to target 35. If it holds 35, I'm going to target 340, so on and so forth. Use those types of 5-point marks on the stock just to help you, identify something, because, I could sit here and be like, oh, let's look at Netflix's chart. I could sit here and talk about the fact that, okay, well, if you look at April and May, there is some price action here between 320 and 340. All right? I could do all that, and we could have that conversation. But look, man, the stock's down 120 points. I don't really care about the chart. I really don't. I care about level 2 action once the market opens, and I care about how it trades around 25, 30, 35, 40, 15, 20. Now, if somebody wants to say, oh, well, those are all chart supports, you can say that. I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to watch the stock because you're down 26%. Don't tell me about support when you flushed right through 400, you flushed right through 375, you flushed right through 350. Clearly, support hasn't been very nice to Netflix here based on this after-hours session. So don't overcomplicate things. Keep it simple. Let's see where we go tomorrow relative to 325. And maybe we open, right now we're around 32, so maybe it'll be over under 335. Whatever it is, though, you want to be close to one of those $5 marks or those $0 marks. If you get in between 32s, 33s, or 37s, 38s, you're kind of in no man's land, and you really need to be careful on that type of an approach. So that's the way I see Netflix. Kind of let it reveal itself in the morning. Expect an extremely whippy situation at the open, and stay comfortable.